Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Jenny. I'm a mama, a writer, a podcast host, and a student of somatic therapy. In my channel, I share videos that take you along with me on my creative journey, as well as motherhood and my journey of learning how to be a somatic practitioner and just how all of these things intersect. Today's video is about a powerful lesson I learned on the yoga mat and really noticing how it has impacted and informed all of my life and noticing the interconnection of everything. If you watch to the end of this video, my hope is that something in it awakens a truth inside of you as it did for me. And that truth is really centered upon this notion that we don't have to hold it all. We don't have to keep it together. And that healing isn't something you chase. It's something you allow. And maybe this moment can be a turning point and a remembering and a coming home to yourself. So the teaching that I've been swirling in that my yoga teacher offered in the middle of my practice is she said, circulation equals regeneration, which equals healing. It's a simple teaching, and yet I found it to be very profound. And it landed in me like medicine in a time when I didn't know I truly could use it. And the invitation that day was to lean into the depth of triangle pose. And if you practice yoga, then you're probably familiar with this pose. And it's a real doozy for me because it really challenges my body to contort in ways that I don't have as much spaciousness within my limbs as I did before I became mother, like before motherhood, and I just wasn't caring for little ones and had my body to myself and I wasn't breastfeeding and all the things that I'm doing now. I just had a lot of more space and capacity to bend into these really uncomfortable positions for me. And so that day was an extra challenge because it really felt like I was stretching edges in my body that I haven't met since before that season of motherhood. And what really struck me about it is that triangle by nature is a shape of stability. It's 3 points meeting to create strength, structure, and support. And just like the pose, the more fully we meet ourselves in the shape of our life, the more it has the power to shape us back. And so one of the most beautiful things that yoga offers me is not to become expert in any of these shapes and these holdings, but rather to meet myself fully as presently as I can in that moment, even if it's imperfect. And what I saw in the moment of that teaching of circulation equals regeneration, which equals healing, was this image of a 3-legged stool, only as strong as all its legs engaged. But if you remove one, then the whole thing wobbles. And the image hasn't left me. And it's not just about yoga. For me, it's about how I live and how I love and how I create. It's taken me a long time to notice how fragmenting myself in the attempt to keep it together or keep myself whole actually perpetuates the opposite of what I don't want in my life. And so the places where I'm pretending I'm fine and the parts that I hide where my fears and insecurities and emotions live that are really much harder to deal with on the surface, my body in turn has to hold them. It goes back to that quote that I shared in my other video by Carl Jung: what is unconscious must be rendered conscious, otherwise it'll rule our life and we mistake it as fate. And I believe that if I don't show them, if I don't show these emotions and these insecurities and these fears, then maybe I'll appear stronger. But like I said, I didn't feel stronger. So the truth is, whatever we hide doesn't necessarily disappear. Our body will hold it for us. It will live under the current of everything we do. And not everyone outside of us might know that, but we have to carry that. And in essence, we begin a war within ourselves. And the thing about keeping ourselves in pieces, it goes against our deepest longing to live whole. And I've really swirled around this because it's like, how can we fully be where we are if we aren't willing to fully be with who we are? And it isn't about living out from every reaction. It's not about getting curious around where we feel that charge of reaction, where we feel like we are reacting a scene from the past that still hasn't had the attention of our consciousness to meet it. It's asking the question of, where am I being met at an edge? Where is life inviting me to unfreeze something old and come all the way alive again? My teacher said that day, like the words just echo in my brain, but circulation equals regeneration, which equals healing. And here's how I've come to see it. Circulation is like letting life move. If your life and your existence was a body of water, like a river, notice what's flowing through your river of being. Notice the stories and the sensations and the thoughts, witnessing them without judgment and asking if it's true and if I still need to hold this. The thing about what circulates in our life and that creates a charge is, I do believe there is an intelligence behind it. I do believe that our brains and our egos are there to protect us. And at some point, we have to be willing to take radical responsibility to notice if we do indeed need to keep that story alive. Do we actually still need protecting, or are we living inside a story that is telling us that we still need protecting? There's no right or wrong here. It's just being willing to notice what is circulating. And regeneration, it reminds me of like the alchemy of it all, listening for the lesson underneath the discomfort. One of my teachers, Usha Anandi, the founder of Women Wellness, she uses the word pain as an acronym for pay attention inside now. And so when pain arises, whether it's physical or emotional, you can ask what the pain is trying to teach you about how you're living, how you're loving, or perhaps how you might be holding back. It's in the circulating of that which flows where it has the potential to change shape. If we're not circulating it, we can never meet that next leg of our journey. Healing. Healing has been an interesting buzzword in the field of wellness and holistic healing, and just in any way, shape, or form where we're being called to shift something in our life. And for me, as a 41-year-old mother of two and a partner that really adores her partner, my husband and I, we've been exploring what it actually means to heal and what example we actually would love to model for our own children. What does healing mean? And for myself and him, it's not about fixing, it's not about shaming, but rather witnessing. Something that we're teaching our children who are 4 and 2 is, when they feel a charge, where are they feeling that in their body? And something I've learned on my path with yoga and spirituality is the energy bodies and the energy centers through the chakras. And so it's really been beautiful to be in dialogue even with my 4-year-old and my very wise 2-year-old in that sense, and just allowing them to participate in the conversation while being in it, engaged with something that their body is offering them through sensation. And what have we found the most is, the more we're willing to sit in the fire with them through that discomfort, the more it gives space for that feeling to pass and it doesn't become an attachment. And obviously, this is not perfect by any means. We are always at the practice of what we are learning, obviously. But what it does do is it allows my children and myself and my partner, as we practice this, not to calcify anything that's moving through, but rather put us in the seat of witness, thereby detaching our immediate charge to it and just letting it sit in the stillness and witnessing why it's here in the first place. This allows us to stay present to our whole self, like you would someone you deeply care about, because you are someone worth deeply caring about. And the thing about creativity, parenting, and relationships, overall life itself, is if we don't let energy circulate, things will stagnate and what isn't moving becomes numb. And that is not fun. Just like if blood stops flowing, we would shut down. If we held our breath, we would literally die if we just kept holding our breath. And so when we suppress what we're afraid to feel, often for good reason, like the intelligence of trying to protect us, we brace. And when we choose to meet what's actually there, something beautiful and potentially miraculous can begin to happen because we soften and open and we can feel again. And in that opening, we can touch our wholeness, not broken, not lacking, just human. And so when I think about healing, it's really been powerful to reframe it from a lens of meeting myself in wholeness, even with the parts of me that I have normally shut down before or tried to hide away from the world. And allowing myself to meet myself in this way is what brought me to start my podcast, Ritual of Wild. And it's allowed me to start this channel. It's allowed me to be more expressive and forgiving with myself, and noticing that what is true and real for me as an expression is forgiving. In that sense, my fears and my insecurities take a back seat or pale in comparison to my service, to what I want to be in service to and to whom I want to help. And so I just feel like if we circulate what we can carry, it'll move us, it'll change us, because the biggest shifts that happen are from within. And think about this with creativity. If you're sitting here watching this and you have an awesome idea, but you're too afraid to explore it or share it with the world, then it can't even regenerate. It would just live inside you without touching someone that it's for. And sometimes our ideas are not about us. Most of them are not there for someone, for being in service. Something else one of my teachers says, Ash Robinson, is we do not create community, but rather we create the context by which it comes to exist. And I love this notion because it actually allows me to move from a place of not what can I offer the world, but also how, what might the version of myself that's already created this beautiful idea out there in the world, how might she meet me in this moment? How might she engage with what feels challenging and shift that into something that isn't to go against me, but rather to be alchemized to scaffolding in which I can scale and move one imperfect step at a time towards what matters to me. And yes, of course, the journey is imperfect and will fall, but every fall is a doorway to return to ourselves again and again. This reminds me of a quote that I love that I first heard from Preston Smiles on a podcast, Know Thyself. And he said, small hinges swing big doors. I mean, think about that. You might think that you are insignificant in a big pool of people that are already doing something that you want to put out in the world. And yet, I've said this in past videos, no one can express it the way you can. The fact that you are alive and that idea is choosing to move through you tells me by virtue that you have everything you need within yourself to make it come to life. If I can do it, so can you. And so I hope this teaching helps you. Want to leave you with this invitation, which is if you are swirling around something you want to create, I hope you do create it. If you are working in a job that drains you, then I hope you quit that job. If you are in a relationship that dims you, I hope you truly consider leaving it. And quite the opposite, if you are been waiting to ask somebody out that you really want to get to know, I hope you take that risk. But more than anything, in all these life circumstances, whether you're creating something, parenting someone, in a relationship, or just learning to meet more of yourself, I hope you do meet more of yourself in the places where you'd rather not, especially in the places where you'd rather not to fix yourself and not to change anything, but rather just to feel the life coursing through you. It's all proof. Everything that's moving through you is a part of you and not apart from you. That is where life is. And that's where healing, in the sense of welcoming your whole self and keeping your whole self in the journey and not having to leave any part of you behind, is welcomed. You can bring your whole self there. Because if we don't circulate what's alive and we miss the chance to regenerate what wants to be transformed, and then we miss the gift of healing, not as an endpoint, we then miss the possibility of coming home to ourself again and again and again. And it's taken me a long time to accept this. And I've been finding that the more and more I lean into it, I am welcoming myself home to myself again and again and again. And I love it because I love her. I love me, and I'm continuing to learn more and more to the degree of the depth that I'm willing to go to. So too is the degree of love that is available to me, for me, and through me and my choice and radical responsibility to get to know myself through life. Eckhart Tolle has this beautiful quote, and he says, "Life is the dancer and you are the dance. You are the channel. You are life coursing through your body." And that's pretty fucking powerful, if you ask me. Excuse my French. So I hope this video helps. I just want you to know that you are absolutely someone worth caring about. Your ideas absolutely worth exploring. And I love you. Thank you so much for being here. Please like and subscribe to this channel. And if you can relate to this, I would love to hear in the comments where you're at in your journey and if this has helped you. Thank you again, and I'll see you in the next video.